Hi, y'all. It's Alana. For those of you whose first time seeing me, hi. I am a creatrix, an award winning performer, poet, and an entrepreneur. And most importantly, what I like to call a light worker. And today we are here to talk about some truths. And when I mean truths with a capital T, universal truths. If you hear baby crying in the back, just let you know that is my godson. His name is Bodhi, which is perfect for this video because his name actually translates to light. And so today we're going to be having a conversation about the truth that not everyone is going to like your light and continue to shine it anyways. So for those of you who are interested in what I do, the services I have to offer, the link, it'll be the first link in the description, just for deeper understanding about who I am. Peep Josie in the back. Josie! She's literally right behind. Yeah! Cutie! She's gonna be keeping me company. Bless you! For this video, I guess. But yeah, so let's talk about the tea. Let's talk about the truth. So not everyone is gonna like your light, and you should shine it anyways, babes. So what do I mean by that, right? Well, first off, let me know if this is a feeling that has resonated with y'all. I will say personally, especially as someone who's so giving, caring, and is really here to be of service on this planet, I really came into the earlier stages of my life possessing more shadow qualities of my light. So what do I mean by that, right? So when we look at givers, here to be of service, for me, the shadow aspect of that is people pleasing, baby. And for those of you who don't know, I am a Libra sun. I am a Leo rising. Hello with the mane. And an Aries moon. So I really, with that Libra sun, came into this world really being so aware of others and being here to be of service. My Venus is in Virgo. And for those of you who like this is gibberish, feel free to just let it be if it doesn't resonate, or if you're curious, look it up. But so I really grew up in again, more in the shadow aspects of my light and the work that I'm here to do. So I would be so concerned about others, partially because as sensitive as I am to energies, I would pick up others' energies as my own, right? But also something that I feel like is so important to acknowledge. I don't know who else can resonate about this, but I grew up in some pretty traumatic situations when I was younger. And so what I mean by that, like, we didn't really have that much of a stable home environment. Do you want to? Okay, you can leave, babes, whenever you want to. But the environment in which I grew up in wasn't that stable, especially emotionally, right? And so I naturally compensated and I became Libra, hello, peacemaker, okay? And so I found myself trying to be able to be aware of the energies in the room, the other people's emotions, so I could, like, literally for survival, so I could diffuse them right before they were to burst or pop off. And again, let me know if this resonates with you. But it's important to recognize like where that is rooted from, and also on the parallel, the duality of it, be able to hold space for the gift that experience has given you, right? But so growing up being people pleaser tendencies and needing to be aware of others' emotions quite literally sometimes before even my own, right? Especially in survival mode. It really made me recognize that personally what I was carrying was that to be liked equals being accepted for our egos. And so what do I mean when I say that, right? When we assess our egos, I feel like a lot of people can put a lot of like negative projection onto our egos. And with everything, there's always light and there's always shadow. I personally like to stay away from like quote unquote good, quote unquote bad, because those are pretty subjective. For me, things typically resonate at different frequencies. So if something's a lower frequency, I identify that as a lower frequency or like a shadow aspect, or something that's in its shadow, not necessarily in its light, which does not make it necessarily good or bad. You can interpret that as like, okay, that's not good for me. But when we talk about universals, good and bad can be very subjective. And so I just really want to clear that language. But when we look at the ego, a lot of times, especially in the spiritual community, and look at it, I'm breaking down so many words. When I say spiritual, right, spiritual community, some people deem spirituality as a religion. For me, in my relationship with spirituality, because what is spirituality? It's your relationship to self, your spirit, your soul. And so for me, it's not a religion whatsoever. It's not an organized religion. No. So when I talk about spirituality, I'm talking about your relationship to yourself, the universe. You see what I'm saying here? But oftentimes in the spiritual community, we can demonize the ego, right? And the limitations of that is that it doesn't allow us to, one, fully understand. And I feel like because of that, it doesn't allow us to fully heal our relationship with our ego, because our ego is there to protect us, right? And that's the thing, like our ego has evolved way back when. We used to have to rely on our ego to provide us with safety. But as we have evolved in human race, so has our ego, right? And so oftentimes, especially people who have experienced many past lives, who are here to heal and to teach and just shine their light, they can experience, and again, let me know if this resonates. If it doesn't, it's not for you. If it does, hey, what's good? Soul family. But our ego has evolved to, instead of, looking for safety in our like direct environment, we do so more in can be like our emotional states. So to be liked equals being accepted equals being safe to our ego, right? Or that's its process, very baseline. And for each of us, it's going to look different and it's going to resonate in different ways. But that is a baseline that I have. And I think it's important to note that so we can understand, so we don't have to demonize ourselves. Because when we demonize our ego, that's intrinsically a part of ourself, right? And I feel like it's so important to have so much compassion, right? Even for the ways in which we've hurt our own selves. And so really having this conversation about the ego and knowing why it's here to help us, and that as we have evolved, we can also like bring our ego up with us, because there is such thing as having a healthy ego, believe it or not. And so the next point I want to talk about is it's so important when it comes to shining your light. And what do I mean by your light? Literally what lights you up. I mean, I'm a generator in human design. If you don't know what you are, please look it up. For me, it has been such a tool for like deeper awareness, just as astrology has been. And it's really important to note that when you're shining your light, your authenticity, right? What authentically your soul is calling you to do, what brings you joy, right? And again, I'm a generator, so literally I work from joy. I am sacral ruled, or sacral authority. I am 4-6 profile, like telling you all the deets. And so with that, for me, and that's the thing, everyone's cues is going to be so different. Another reason why I deem human design so beautiful is because it has, again, taught me so much about myself. So for example, I know that when, like, my path, right, how I know that I'm on the right path is that literally it's going to light me up. Anything that's going to bring me joy is what I'm supposed to be doing, and anything that causes me frustration is how I know that I'm out of alignment. So that's my experience. Again, it may differ for each and every one of you, and let me know how it resonates, especially my generators. But so that's the way in which I view and go about my life and my reality. And so when you're shining your authentic light, it's also important to be aware of, especially for our egos, is that others don't have the power to affect you unless you give them your consent, right? And so if subconsciously where we have fears of being judged, or fears of like our own safety, and how expressing ourselves can be a direct reflection of whether or not we're going to be safe in this life, it's really important to pinpoint those subconscious beliefs, because if that's automatically where you go to, there's some sort of programming, there's some sort of subconscious fears that are looking to be brought to the surface. And so something that I was recently recommended by one of my best friends, his name is Corey. He is also, oh my goodness, he does so many beautiful, beautiful things for the collective. He is a practicing astrologer. He just got certified in Venus Star Point. He's doing a lot of different things. He's a medium as well. I'll put his link as the second link in the description. If you feel so called to check him out. It's his business is called Light Pathways by Corey. And so highly, highly, highly recommend. But I was talking to him. Oh my goodness, we've been besties forever. And I was reaching out because I recently had an instance where I was just expressing myself and just sharing my authentic voice, my truth. And I experienced people who did not like that I was sharing my truth and my light. And because of that, they were really coming from a place of anger and being really mad. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, it automatically triggered the like fear of being persecuted, or like my life being taken away, just because of me expressing myself, and how so many people wanted to stop me from expressing myself. So there were like two parts of me. One was like my higher self being able to recognize how impactful my voice is, and sharing my voice, how impactful that is, so much so like it made massive impacts on these people. And I was able to recognize that I am a mirror, because that's the thing. When you're light, you're literally reflecting back. You're reflecting back. You're a mirror. And so oftentimes you can reflect other people's shadows and their subconscious straight to them. So they're not even fully seeing you. They're seeing the pain. They're seeing the ugly. They're seeing all these things that you're bringing up that they are not ready to recognize or to release, right? And that has nothing to do with you, my loves. Not at all. But so I encountered this experience. I went through this, right? And I reached out to my best friend, and I was like, listen, I was like, because for me, it was really bringing up what's called the witch wound, right? And so for a lot of us, if you believe in past lives, like I do, a lot of us have experienced multiple lives, and for some of us, we have what's called a witch wound. A lot of healers can experience this. Again, let me know if it resonates. And with the witch wound, when we think about the witch trials, right? A lot of us have had past lives there where we were persecuted and executed just for existing, right? So there is such a deep-rooted subconscious fear And so what he recommended, and it's funny because it wasn't even him. He was it was the spirits, it was the guides, with his mediumship. He was like past life regression. That's what I'm hearing. Do a past life regression. And I was like, all right. And prior to that experience, I had been aware of the witch wound, and I have done rituals, breaking those vows, but not specifically having a past life regression where I dive into what I experienced so that I can heal. Because it's important that, this is for healing. And the healing journey, let me tell you, is not for the weak. It's for the courageous. So many people can be so afraid to receive deeper healing because they're afraid to experience pains or really come to truth with the hurt and have to purge that out, right? But so I prior to that, I had never fully dived in. And so when he told me past life regression, part of me was like, oh, okay. I gotta do it. I gotta finally do it. And I don't know why I was experiencing this sense of resistance to it. Probably because of the depths that it was going to open me up to. But so in that experience, I will also, so something so beautiful about the age that we live in now is that we have so many resources at our disposal. So something that's also so important to me when we have this conversation is to realize that or I guess how I'm going to phrase it is I want to really encourage you to be aware of the resources that we have and not being afraid to explore those. So when he said past life regression, I was like, okay, well, there's a few avenues in which this can happen, right? Think of stereotypical, you go to someone who is like a teacher, a mentor, or certified to do past life regressions, right? Or you can do a little Google. My favorite place is YouTube, obviously. And so I YouTube past life regression, and I did a meditation. I will also link that in the description as well. And it'll be the third link of 3 links for y'all. And in case you personally feel called to experience that yourself. But it was through that past life regression. It was about a 20-minute meditation hypnosis where I went into my past life, and that really allowed me to, one, gain a deeper understanding, gain a deeper compassion, and really brought awareness to the parts of myself that had been hurting, and also to the parts of myself where I could really show up, right? Those parts of myself that were so fearful because of what I had experienced. And if you're curious about the full story, let me know, and I would be happy to get into it another time. But I will let you know a tidbit. I had been a pretty instrumental leader in finding refuge for a lot of other women and children being accused. And so because of that, and also because of how my trial went, I'm not so soft-spoken, especially when it comes to injustices, and that tracks in my past life. And so because of that, they deliberately wanted to use my voice against me, and so they decided to set me aflame, because that's the thing. There were different ways in which they were executing, right? In that past life, I saw one of my companions being hung, but they decided to set me aflame because they deliberately wanted to use the power of my voice against me, for me to feel how powerless my voice was in juxtaposition of the flame, right? And so having that deeper awareness, one, allowed me to gain so much admiration and strength for the work that I'm doing now, right? The fact that it was able to bring up such a deep wound, and again, this is not singular, right? We are so connected. I feel like a lot of us forget how really connected we are. to one another and to the people before and after us, right? Because time is not linear. And so it allowed me to gain so much admiration and pride in what I'm doing today. And it also allowed me really to come to peace with those parts of my soul that had been fragmented, and really call them back. And so this brings me into the next thing that I want to talk about in sharing your light. Again, if you feel called to do a past life regression, again, it's going to be linked in the description. But it brings me to my next point that I want to talk about, which is, I feel like a lot of us, I have been doing for the past like 2.5 weeks, I have been doing a lot of soul retrieval. As you can also see, I'm wearing a lot of yellow. This is some yellow jade. I'm wearing yellow right here. I have my yellow crystals in front of me. I don't know if y'all have been feeling this. Again, let me know if it resonates in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective and just more about the fellow healers and light workers out there. But soul retrievals and calling back personal power and specifically solar plexus, our energy center of the solar plexus. For those of you who don't know, and again, please do more research. I am not like the end all be all. I will always preach this. I am not the end all be all. Use me as a guide, right? Not gospel. Use me as your guide to discover the things that you're curious, that are calling to you, right? I'm just the messenger. Literally, my last name is Parrot, which is what do parrots do? They communicate and they literally repeat after, right? So the way I see it, I'm just repeating what the universe wants to get through. Okay. But so for those of you who don't know, we have energy centers, all right? And so some people focus on just the 7 main quote unquote energy centers, but I know that there are more than that. But a lot of us have really been experiencing, I just saw 222. A lot of us have been experiencing solar plexus activation, upgrade, or initiation. All right. So again, I don't know how y'all are resonating with that, but that's something I'm just seeing in the collective and the people around me, and something that I'm personally experiencing. A lot of that has been happening. And if you're in the northern hemisphere, like I am currently located in Rhode Island. We just had the summer solstice, baby. And the reason I bring that up is because a lot of us are really, when we look at our solar plexus, and again, look up more information, especially if you feel called, if you've been experiencing, like you can look at what it feels like when it's like more stagnant, like underutilized. You can also look at when that energy center is utilized. Like for example, like if your solar plexus is really working overtime, you can experience a lot of like anxieties, being really anxious. I'd also say fearful, underutilized can be a lot of doubt, lack of motivation. But that's our personal power center. Okay, it also correlates directly to the divine masculine. And so it's really allowing us to, like, a lot of us are being called to claim our personal power. And so in my journey of claiming my personal power, I literally have been having to do soul retrievals, calling back my power to me. And then once I was doing that, then I did my past life regression, which was like really understanding the depths of my power. And that's the thing. Like I feel like I haven't even fully scratched the surface to what I'm capable of and like how powerful I really am. And I feel like this can resonate with a lot of people. But naturally, in the world that we've been brought up in, and especially if you live in the Western world like I do, and in the Northern Hemisphere, it's that patriarchy, man. So many people have really hurt from the distorted masculine energy that has been running our society and humanity for like thousands of years now. And so it's really giving us the opportunity to heal these parts of ourselves. And I'm also being called to tell you like some cues if you're going through some like activations. So typically if you're going through an activation or like an upgrade, from my experience, what that can look like. Let me get some water. So typically what that can look like, it can fluctuate, again for everyone, but on one side it can look like feeling so exhausted, feeling like you could sleep all day and still not get enough sleep. On the opposite end of that spectrum, it can also look like feeling like you're like surges of energy and that you can't sleep because you have so much energy running through you. That's personally what I've been experiencing. Also with your solar plexus, you can also experience like change in your appetite for sure. And these are just some of the clues. With that. And I also want to wrap in, I'm being called to talk about some of the crystals and the color. For those of you who don't know, a beautiful resource that we have to us, especially us light workers. Like, hello, we're light, we're color, we reflect that, okay? So something that's should always be in our back pocket or like our toolkit is color therapy, baby. So when we look at the different energy centers, they also have different colors that can correlate to those, right? And so incorporating either more foods in your diet of that color or wearing more of that color, having more of that color around you, carrying crystals that have that color, that energy. So these crystals that I have in front of me, the first one I showed you, this is a honey calcite. For anyone interested. Also, fun fact, calcites especially, a lot of them, at least in, again, near where I live, northern hemisphere of the world, western, you can find calcites just like out and about. So also don't limit the way in which you receive from the universe. So calcite, this is a citrine. I told you I'm wearing a yellow jade, and then also something so tried and true, especially for the solar plexus. Oh my gosh, and especially for like my spiritual warriors out there, is tiger's eye. This is one of my favorites, especially as a Leo rising and a Leo Venus star point. Oh my gosh, I feel so connected to Leo energy, and so tiger's eye is like a direct reflection of that for me. So whether it be stones, whether it be incense like nice lemongrass or herbs or essential oils, you can get really creative, like however you feel called to, but these are just some baselines for you to be able to jump off of when it comes to supporting yourself through this healing, whether it's the activation, whether if it's the initiation or upgrades. Okay, but as I mentioned, summer solstice, baby. And so our light is just like summer, baby, right? And again, if you're in the northern hemisphere, and especially in the western side of the world, you know that some people cannot take the heat of the summer. Summer is summering, okay? That also brings up some climate things, which we're not going to get into today. But I do have an app that I can recommend. It's called Chilli, CHILLI, and it is like an app for climate activism, social justice, like really a lot of humanitarian efforts. I highly recommend checking out the app. I'm not going to link it in the description because I already have 3 for y'all. But if you feel called, please check it out. It's called Chili, and it's like a pink and like a flame on it. But that's really good. Well, some people can't take the heat that comes with the summer, right? And so how that correlates to our light is that some people can't take the heat of our light, of you expressing yourself authentically. Because as we were talking before, that heat can correlate to reflecting those shadows. And so just because some people can't take it, right, does not mean the sun is going to stop shining. Never. The sun is meant to shine. And so if you take anything from this message, know that you are meant to shine. You are meant to shine. So shine. Just like the summer, it is innately what it is here to do. And this is innately what you are here to do. So if you resonated with this message, this dialogue about this truth that we have, and I feel so called to talk about, definitely let me know. Please let me know in the description. And again, if you want to check out the work that I do, if you want to support me, I work as a full-time creatrix, performer, and creator, poet. So if you want to check out my poetry book, all is going to be linked in the description. And if you want to donate to support me, because I do this full-time, it's what I feel called to do, feel free. But until next time, remember to stand in your authentic light, loves, and shine bright and inspire others to do the same. Ashe.